Hi and welcome to Back to the Tactics board with Edge of Play. In today's video I'm looking at the 2-4-2 formation in 9-a-side. I'm going to look at some of the strengths and some of the issues you may face with this formation. Here we have the players in the 2-4-2 then. Let's look at the features of this system first of all. Well, having a unit of 4 in midfield, that's a key strength to this formation. You know, it's got width, it's got balance to it. It's going to be hard to break lines for the opposition with that 4 going across, and if your wide players in the 4 can support at the back, get into midfield and support up front, so they're going to need a lot of energy to do that, but if they can do that, it makes this system it gives this system real strength. You know, that balance of left, right and 2 in the centre, not just 1, means that you can kind of deal with switches of play in front of you quite well. If this 4 can work effectively together, they can be supporting the back 2 and the forward 2 in equal measure. You have these pairs through the team, so you have your defensive 2 working together left and right of defence. Your midfield 2, is one going to be more sitting in midfield and one pushing on, or are they both going to get box to box, but they're working as a pair in a certain harmony. You then have the pair of your right side midfield with your right midfielder, and then the same on the left, and even the fact you have 2 wide midfielders looking to support the different areas. So very similar characteristics to their roles. And then your forward 2 as well, working in harmony, one dropping in to receive, one moving in behind, one makes a channel run, the other one holds centre. So a certain simplicity to the system here. In a positive way, players can recognise what their roles are, they work off their teammate that they're paired with almost, and if those pairs work successfully and they coordinate what they're doing, then this can be a really successful system. But yeah, there's so many systems that are quite complex and there's a lot to take into account whether it will work or not. And this idea of working in a pair, and if that pair is successful, then the system will work well. It's got a certain simplicity. This simplicity can be a real bonus for young players who are trying to understand the game, they're learning the game. This idea that you just work off your partner in the game can take away a lot of the confusion for players. If your wide midfielders, you know, can successfully get forward to support, this gives your strikers the chance to link up more. They're not having to make the width for the side with movements into those channels. They can work closer together. One player dropping into the hole there, one player moving in beyond. So this idea that they can link up together because of the support of their wide players. So if they're working in harmony up front, you can have a really good centre forward pairing that can get close to each other, work together to cause loads of problems for an opponent. If you're playing against a back 3, you know, this centre back's going to be wanting to pull in the 2 full-backs to support them because they're against 2 players. Then if you can get the support from your wide players and you drag the full-backs out more, all of a sudden 4 can be overloaded in there, and 8 and 9 can really link up together and create a lot of chances. Playing against a team with 2 at the back, then they can be man on man, and again, as soon as your midfielders get forward, you can be really overloading an opposition. It can also be good for pressing this system because you're one forward responsible for one side, supported by your wide midfielder, potentially even the other midfielder as well. One of the benefits of having, you know, 3 or 4 players in one of your lines, whether it's defence, midfield, attack, is that you have a bit more leeway to leave that line, you know, to do an attacking movement or a defensive movement, and still have cover behind you. So you kind of have that extra support behind you. If a mistake happens, you kind of got contingency for that. So the fact you can have 4 in there can mean that the players can chivvy across, 7 can really go for that ball, working with the forward, 4 can be backing up for the ball that gets played through a gap in that passing lane, and you've still got 2 midfielders that can be covering across. For that to work, of course, they have to work in harmony, in unison. Your far winger would need to be tucking in with your midfielder to make it work. But if they're doing that, that system of 4 has a certain flexibility to it, that it can release 1 or 2 players from it and still have cover and support behind. Let's look at some of the challenges in this system then. Well, first of all, you've got 2 at the back. I always mention this when you're playing 2 at the back in 9-a-side. You are taking a bit of a gamble. They could be 2 on 2, you could be 2 against 3 at times, even 2 against 4 in moments in transition. So you're going to expect that your 2 defenders need to be strong, need to be good at dealing one-on-ones, good at working as a pair, backing each other up, good at delaying the opponent until your support can get back. I'd expect you to need to be quite mobile and quick. I don't like saying that all the time because, you know, there's a lot more to defending than being fast. But if you're playing a 2 and you've got this width of the pitch to cover at 9-a-side, then you've got a lot of movement to do. So if a ball gets played in, yes, you can read the game well, but having that extra mobility and speed to get there, cover the ground quickly, would be very important in this formation, I would say. Another thing in this system, a bit like the 4-4-2 at 11-a-side, there can be a lot of straight lines. So you can look up through the team there and see a straight line. And then on this side as well, another straight line. Straight lines in here, straight line at the back, straight line up front. So it can be very straight lines horizontally and vertically without movement. But it only takes a bit of movement, a bit of coordination for that to change. And players to make nice angles off each other, and all of a sudden you're getting triangles and diamonds either side. So you just need that movement. If the players move, it can be a really effective system. It can be really creative because you're starting from a very secure base of that bank of 4 in midfield. Bit of movement from that, you now create angles which the opposition have to read and then adapt to. I mentioned that a feature of this formation can be the simplicity of working in pairs. Well, if those pairs are not working in harmony, then you can have a problem. So if both your midfielders are wanting to come and get on the ball and dropping deep for it to receive from the defence or the goalkeeper, then they miss out this big area here and there's no one supporting the forwards. If both forwards are making runs in behind, then there's nothing in here. If they're making movements in here to receive the ball, all of a sudden the whole team's coming back towards the ball and pressing themselves out of space, then that's a problem. So you need the pairs to be working with a coordination, with awareness of each other's movements. You've got this central spine of 3 banks of 2, which can be really effective through the middle, but the strength of that really is linked to what your wide midfielders are doing. Their ability to get back and support, at times make it a 4 at the back, at the wide areas, to then get forward from that position into your midfield in the transition as you're building, and then to get forward and support to offer width in advanced areas. For all those things to happen, they're going to need high levels of fitness, high levels of energy, a work rate to get up and down the pitch. The advanced width you might need initially, if you're playing out from the back and the wide players dropping in to receive, to support the side defender, might be from your forwards. So you might need those movements into channels initially to allow you to stretch an opponent, make space for your midfield to get on the ball and then build and move up the pitch together. You need to give your wide midfielders the time to get forward. So you'd expect that your forwards would have to have times where they can retain possession, hold it up, and allow your wide midfielders to get up the pitch. Just like at the back, the delay tactics of your defenders to get to the ball first or to hold an attacker up, to give time for your midfield to work back as a unit. That'll be important in this system. There'll be times in this system where 7's been on the attack, may have been putting a cross in, possession's been lost, or a team are attacking at you. Yeah, you've got the support midfield to get across and nullify that. But if a team are able to get into these channels, your defence are going to be dragged across. As that's happening, what are the responsibilities of your midfield? Whilst there might be simplicity to it, which of these midfielders have which role? Are you expecting the player on that side to get across and support here? Or is it a case of both box to box? Does both have to get in? Whoever's nearest to that side gets in? Are you expecting them to support in the wide areas or just get central and the defender gets dragged out here? So there needs to be clarity there. The players need to be reacting. 4 may be out of position, so 5 gets across here. 4 needs to recognise that, not head back in here, but head back to this central area. And your wide midfielder, very important, you may have been on the attack as well, to get back in and tuck in here. Very important because you've only got 2 at the back. You haven't got a player at this kind of back post kind of area. So if an opponent does get a ball in, have you got your player tracking back to that area? If an opponent does get it and it goes into midfield out the other way, can you cover that? So a lot of movement needed from your midfield 4 and a lot of understanding of what each other's doing in their pairs. I think if you want to relate this to 11-a-side, it's very much a 4-4-2. Can look quite clear, just taking your fullbacks out or expecting your wingers to do both of those roles. You can also look at it, because of that, of these players to be like wing-backs almost. You could almost look at it as being one of the variations of a 3, like a 3-4-3, a 3-5-2 kind of formation as well. But it certainly looks, in an attacking sense, like your 4-4-2. Once you get on that front foot and you get into your formation, you've got that width either side of midfield. You've got your 2 forwards working together. It can very much, in an attacking sense, feel like that 4-4-2 formation that people like at 11-a-side. Thank you for watching this formation video. I do hope you found it useful. For more videos for 5-a-side, 7-a-side, 9-a-side and 11-a-side formations, go to the tactics section at www.edgeofplay.com.